Well, apparently it has been 2 years since I recorded the last episode of my podcast. The last one, as I checked before I started recording this video, was on the 15th of November 2020. And my goodness, have things changed since then. This would be episode 124 of the Naina Radio Experience, and some of you might be watching this as a video on Instagram or YouTube. Some of you, if you are still subscribed, would probably be listening to it on your podcast player, and I am finding it extremely weird to be getting into it like this. Like just out of the blue, saying I'm back, not knowing if I'm actually going to be able to keep this up. What are the things I'm going to be talking about? There's so much I've experimented with. So much has happened since 2020. I don't even know where to start. But I wanted to record this podcast primarily because I wanted to talk about something interesting that happened to me, which kind of brought a different paradigm shift almost in the way I think and the way I look at things. I have processed it a little bit, but I still haven't been able to kind of apply it to daily life. So I was invited as a speaker for the women of a really large real estate organization in the world, and it was a Zoom call essentially, and they wanted to hear me talk about my life and my career and why I made the choices I made, and can other people make similar choices of not following the traditional path of doing an MBA and blah blah blah, etc. And that I went into photography, I became an artist and a blogger and things like that. So it was, no offense, but a lot of these requests for speaking or being on a panel have routine questions. It's a lot of times it's stuff that I have answered many times before. And while I don't mind engaging with a new audience, it's always a little bit of a like, do I have to? Like, I've done this so many times. But anyway, by the time I get to the call or I get to the speaking engagement, I'm like, okay, let's do this. And I hope that it would be interesting for the audience at least, if not for me. There was one question which I don't think had been framed quite the way it was framed in this interview, for example. I don't know why I said for example there, where they asked me about the obstacles I had faced in life. And I think the exact question was, what are some of the obstacles that you faced in life and how did you overcome them? And I don't think I have been asked this question previously. And they had sent me the questions beforehand, so I knew that this was going to be one of the questions. And that was the only one that I couldn't really answer when I was going through the questions and trying to kind of rehearse or thinking of what to say. Till the moment the panel actually started, I was not sure what I was going to say, because yeah, sure, I can think of a million obstacles, but really, I don't know, for some reason my brain wouldn't let me say, yeah, obstacles, you had so many obstacles. So when the question actually came up live on the panel, I don't know why I keep calling it a panel. It was basically just me and an interviewer and a moderator, so I guess it is a panel. God, I'm going so off topic. They asked me, what are some of the obstacles that you have faced on your journey and how have you overcome them? And out of nowhere, I responded with, I don't think I've had any obstacles really. I think the biggest obstacle in my life has been me. And the moment I said that, those words came out of my mouth, I was like, what the fuck? But it's true. I think for all of us, it's, you need to get out of your own way, really. Everyone has circumstantial and situational advantages and disadvantages, but obstacles are like, I don't know, if for some reason I didn't have an arm or a leg, I could maybe look at that as an obstacle, because how would I be a photographer with one arm missing? How would I be a photographer with one leg missing? And I know people who are photographers with severe disabilities as well. So is it really an obstacle? And are you really overcoming it, or are you just doing what you want to do regardless of everything else? And I cannot stop thinking about it since the day I did that panel. And I've thought about it. I said, what are the obstacles I faced? I mean, I've told myself so many times that I came from a middle class family, didn't have any money. But really, I mean, I still had a life far more privileged than literally 90% of the population of this country, unfortunately. Even though maybe I didn't have, my pocket money was maybe $5 or $10 or something a week in school when I was in, I don't know, 7th or 8th grade, which was measly. And I had friends who came from better off families, or I don't know, their parents felt more pressure to kind of give them more money, and they would get 100 rupees a week, for example, which was like, whoa, this was 1990, I don't know. I left school in 96 and 10th, so this must have been 93, 94. $100 was a lot of money then. So, but was that an obstacle? It's just, I didn't get to eat crap outside the house, I guess, which was better for my health in the long run, because basically all I ever wanted to eat was the fat, amazing samosas that we used to get in our school canteen. I could say that, that I'm a woman, so maybe that is an obstacle. But again, I don't know if someone made a decision to not hire me or to not buy my art because I'm a woman. I don't know that. So is it an obstacle then? Like, if I don't know about it, is it an obstacle? I know it sounds rather simplistic, and there are a lot of people fighting for equal rights for women, and but there are so many issues for so many different people. Is that really an obstacle? Like, I think that if I don't see it, it's not an obstacle. I'm just gonna roll right ahead and go with it and still do the things that I've always wanted to do, and not really, like, what's stopping me? If I am a woman and somehow that's supposed to be a disadvantage, I don't think it has really stopped me from doing a lot of things. Yeah, sure, I might have taken a different path. For example, doing a solo trip, traveling as a solo photographer and photographing landscapes, or not waiting for someone else to join me and feel safe. And maybe I could have done that, but there are other women who are doing it. So clearly, it's not an obstacle for them. So I think that if I really truly wanted to do those things, I would have done those things regardless of whatever people think obstacles I've had in life. And it's just blowing my mind since that interview. What are the other obstacles that I have? Like, nothing. Literally nothing. The internet helped me out. Sure, internet speeds in India used to be shit in the early days. But was that an obstacle? I don't know. And like I said, if I don't know, then is it an obstacle? I mean, life is hard for everyone. And what is hard for me might not seem hard for someone else. So each of us have their own journeys, but I think the biggest thing for me has always been to just be like, do it. Just fucking do it. Like, don't be like, ye nahi hoga, wo nahi hoga, aise nahi hoga, waise nahi hoga. Sure, we have our phases where I'm going through, a low phase where I don't feel like getting out of bed. That's fine. But it's not an obstacle by any means. I know people have severe mental illnesses which basically make them non-functional. I don't have that. So it's not an obstacle for me at all. It's just a bad day, or maybe even if I have had depression for a while, I have gotten out of it. And during that time, I gave myself, I gave myself time to slow down. I gave myself time to recover. I gave myself time to breathe and be bored and not have an agenda and not have a routine and just be like, it's fine. It's a phase. It'll pass. So yeah, maybe the biggest obstacle is me. I need to get out of my way instead of telling that, oh, I can't do this because I'm a woman, I come from a middle class family, India doesn't really respect women, the Indian market doesn't really understand art, the Indian market doesn't really buy photograph prints, the Indian market doesn't really buy brooches. Really? Maybe. But is that going to stop me? No. So that was episode 124 of the Naina Redu experience. Oh my god, I've been thinking about doing this for almost 20 days and I've finally done it. And thank you for listening. Bye.